Welcome to episode 5 of the No Needed Approval podcast. I got my man Phil. I'm Pierre. Listen, together, right? That's Stockton. I make sure I'm in the right way, right? That's Stockton. I'm Malone, and we just really gonna work this thing out, man. And today we are going to talk to you about systems. Do I need them? Do I not need them? When do I need them? When do I not need them? What should I be doing right now? Sometimes, man, we get so caught up and so confused. And from my own experience, I done seen people time and time again sit there with no data. They're doing absolutely nothing, but they're creating systems. And my question is, like, what are you creating a system around? Like you haven't went out and produced business. You don't even have your product and service really down. Like, you're just in really the beginning stage, but you're looking to create systems. Like, what are the systems based on? Right. And that's just my thing. I believe, for me, and it could be different for you, but I think that you have to go out and put some work in. And when you go out and put some work in, now, and when I say work, I mean get a certain amount of clients. So now you can create a follow-up system. You can see what works and what don't work. But if you have 0 clients, right, and you're looking to follow up with people, how do you create that system? I'm going to do this and do this and do this. It's going to change once you start getting 50 people that you need to follow up with on a regular basis. When you start getting 100 people, when you get to 1,000 people, you're going to have all these tweaks. Why not go out and get like your first 1,800 people, right? 20 people a day for the next 90 days. And then now create a system for you to follow up with these people, right? Like, have something. And I'm not saying don't have nothing, but don't think you're going to go A to Z with your system before you have things or people to put inside of your system. That's just my input on it. But that's what we're going to talk about today. What's going on, Phil, man? How you feeling?
Everything's good, man. Everything's good. Just, blessed by the opportunity, I guess. So, what happened yesterday is I jumped on Clubhouse, okay? And everybody's been talking about Clubhouse, and I've been trying to get on Clubhouse. Finally got an opportunity. I got on Clubhouse. And you're on Clubhouse, right? When do you go on Clubhouse, Mr. Evans?
Oh yeah, definitely on Clubhouse. I've been on Clubhouse, I think, since November, man. My man Shans hit me up and said, yo, you got to get on here. And I jumped on right away, right? When certain people say, yo, you should be doing this, you respond to it and you do it sooner than later. Now I'm at the point, man, where I hold a room every day on Clubhouse, breaking beyond your breaking point, every day, 8 a.m. Eastern time, Monday to Monday, right? You know, I'm on that 5th quarter life. So we're not just going Monday to Friday, we're going Monday to Monday, man. And every day, the focus of it is to build mental toughness, confidence, and self-esteem. So if you're not on Clubhouse, go get in them streets, but be careful what streets you get in. You know what I'm saying? Don't just get on every street. Pick your street and be very strategic with it. And don't be giving invites away to your best friend if your best friend is not quality. Right? If your best friend is not quality, don't let them in. If you run into somebody and they want to get in, don't just give your invites away to people that are not quality. Like, I wouldn't leave you at home with my kids by yourself, right? Or I wouldn't leave you in my house with 50,000 sitting on the table in all ones, because you might take you some ones. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, if their credibility ain't solid, if they're not really in the mindset that you are, don't let them on, man, because they follow you forever. And the stuff that they do will definitely roll over to you because they're part of your tree for life. But other than that,
it's kind of like vouching. It's like those old mafia movies, how you got to vouch for somebody and make sure that they're straight, is what you're saying?
Yeah, everybody who vouched for Donnie Brasco got knocked off. You know what I'm saying? That's so good. Yeah, so don't be doing that, man. Don't
vouch for anybody the wrong guy. You better have a thorough background. Okay,
absolutely. So do a background check. You know what I'm saying? Like really, like, if you listen, man, if like, it's so deep when you really think about it, because it's credibility, man. So if you should always show up to appointments late, yo, you can't get a Clubhouse invite. Like, my invites are piled up. People be like, yo, can I get an invite? And I don't even say I don't have none. I just tell them, like, yo, no, like, nah, you can't get an invite. This is why. You know what I'm saying? Because number one, if you're really cool with me, if you're my friend, I really want you to fix what the problem is. You know what I'm saying? So that I don't have to distance myself from you in other areas. So I'm like, nah, you can't, right now you can't get an invite, and this is why. These are the things you need to work on, like the verbiage you use, like you're not saying like you don't speak right, but you're too vulgar. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not what I want to represent me in these streets. And when people look at your profile, you can't control this. They go down and it says nominated by Pierre Evans. So I got to think, how do you carry yourself? Because when people look you up and then they go down and look at your profile, and that's what everybody does, and they see that, oh, Pierre Evans let you in here. Like, no, I didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I ain't let you in these streets, man. So be very careful, man. Don't be afraid to tell people no. You know what I'm saying? If you got a problem telling people no, just remember, I love me more than I love you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not telling you no, I'm telling me yes. You know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. So I was in this clubhouse the first time. I was in this, I guess, what is it, room, whatever. And this one gentleman, he was talking about what he does is he's in the heating and air thing. And we talked for about an hour and a half in this space. And he was talking about how business startups, and I didn't know these numbers, but this is what he said. Business startups, basically 93% of business startups fail. And he said, and I was thinking, wow, that's a big number, but I didn't know it was that high. He was saying that the number one reason they fail is because they don't have a system. He said what the best way to do it is everybody try to create, and he used the example of the Happy Meal. He said everybody needs to try to create that Happy Meal, no matter where you go, no matter what part of the country, or even in other countries, that Happy Meal is consistent. So in your business, what you want to do, and I agree with what you're saying, look, don't spend all that time just creating a system. Go out and do the work. And then I would say to me, then start to look at, okay, I've done a little work. It's starting to work or it's not working. Where can I make those tweaks and adjustments to make it better? And so that's what he was saying. He said, look, everybody needs to make those adjustments. So he said from basically zero to about $100,000. And he changed his game a little. He went to $1 million, but he said from zero to $100,000 revenue, you need to just go out, execute, do whatever you can, but then you need to pull back the curtain, look at it, and then make an adjustment. And that's where he was talking about the system.
Yeah, and that's like dead on, right? Because until you generate at least 100,000, like you shouldn't be doing nothing other than sales and marketing. Like sales and marketing. Your system is how many people a day do I need to be talking to? And out of this amount of people, how many people should I be closing? So if you're just focusing on bringing people in and then focusing on how do you close, how do you get people to say yes and develop that strategy, them are the first two systems, a system to bring people in and then a system to be able to get the people you bring in to convert. Because if you got an ill system to bring them in, but your system to get them to convert is trash, why? Like you don't have a back office. You know what I'm saying? Like there's nothing in the back office to build. So them are the first two systems that you build. But now how do you build a system on bringing people in if you're not doing anything that's bringing people in? That means you're creating a losing system now. So to make sure that this works, like document every step of the way, everything you do, like literally, like if I go through this pad and I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to give you these sheets right here. Like you see, I got my pad, right? But then I got these little, I'm going to turn them this way. You can see the back of them because there's some real data here, right? But when I'm looking at these sheets, I'm sitting over here writing this down like, okay, yep, I did that. Okay, yep, I took that and transferred that to that page. Okay, yep, I cleaned it up on that one. Yep, it's a little better on that one. This one, right? Like you see, like it's more because I got more detailed on it. That's just a scrap, right? So out of all of them, this one is more detailed. Why? Because I took this and I transferred it to this. So now this is this, but put into a system format. But I couldn't do that until I knew what was working. And I had to clean it up. So now I can be intentional about making it work. You know what I mean? So until you hit that first 100, like, yo, there's nothing to do other than sales and marketing. So keep your attention there and that becomes more lucrative to you. But when you're trying to create a system based around, listen, I promise you, I'm the last person in the world that should even be like telling you about systems because my little process of this could be a lot cleaner, right? And a lot easier, but I do what I do. And what happens is you have that mess that you have, but because you're creating a system of bringing people in, and then you're tightening up your system to increase your conversions, now you can bring somebody in with what you're converting on, and you can have them clean that up. You know what I'm saying? Don't hold it in your pocket. Don't say, oh my God, I had an awesome month. I'm gonna put all of this up. I'm gonna reinvest. I'm gonna put all of this up into the bank. I'm gonna save for this emergency fund. No, if you did that on your screwed up way of no system, what happens when you pay somebody who's like a beast with systems, and they put that together and help you to like quadruple that. Like I was just telling you about one of the ladies, man, who sent me the numbers and said, listen, this is what I do. This is the fee. And I was like straight like, listen, okay, I'm not ready for you right now, but I'll be ready for you. And you're the one I'm going to. And she was like, no problem. If you need something, you call me in between. But yeah, I definitely want to help you put them systems together. So I'm looking at it like enough marketing, enough sales, pay her. She helps to scale that to a whole nother level, man.
The next level. Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and that's pretty much what he was talking about. I know in the beginning when we were starting out and I was teaching people how to get in an ATM business, you know, they were like, I don't know how to do it. I'm like, don't worry about it, because I have a system that works to get you into the ATM business and be successful, you know. And then what we did is we took that system, turned it into a course for basically all the 9-to-5 people, so they can learn. They don't have to go around in the street trying to figure things out. I got a proven system that helps you go through the process and makes you money. Okay. And I know for you, I remember back in the day, you know, you were stumbling, and then you decided, okay, I'm going to go to mental toughness, confidence, and self-esteem. You came up with that workbook. You created, even though you won't admit it, you created a system, and you're like, this system works over all the stuff that I found. That's you. And now you had this proven system that works and can get you those 3 objectives that people are struggling with. Yeah, so even though you won't admit it, I know you do have a system.
I do, but I didn't. You see what I'm saying? Like yeah, I do now, yes, but I didn't before. The system, I accidentally created the first part of the system. The first part of the system was, and this was unintentional, right?
Yeah. The best part. That was the best part, because so many people and so many people, you know, you talked about it for years. I remember you telling people will pay. I heard you say this, and I know people you won't admit it on the phone, on the call, but people will pay for your system. I heard you say it 1,000 times, and it's true. And so when you're starting out, even in business, if you start to document, I like to document, but if you document things, now when you go through it, you can actually sell your system on how you did what you did, and you can make money if you want to. I mean, and you know, I remember you telling everybody to do that. So I'm shouting you out a little here on that, but that's all right.
But that's part of the whole thing, man. And in the beginning, I didn't know. Like my coach told me, like, yo, just do videos. Like put your videos out. Be consistent with your videos.
Yeah.
So I was consistent with putting the videos out, right? Learning how to do the videos, learning the structure of the videos. How do you you know, have what you're talking about, have your story, have your point, have your teaching, your teachable in there, right? And make sure this whole thing is structured right. So I put out video after video after video. When I got a certain amount of videos, I went ahead and did I don't even have it over here, right? I went ahead and did the book.
Yeah.
And I put the book in there based on me doing the videos, made me dig deep into my story and really identify like who I am, what I've been through, what part of I've been through helped me to become who I am. And I was able to take that and put that in the book based around 9 principles, right? 900 university lessons that I put together. And now I'm talking about each one of these lessons. And then inside of the book at the back, I took some of the videos I put together and I transcribed the videos and made a list of the videos in content, right? In context. So now you can actually go ahead and you can read them. Like it's the craziest thing. The book came because of what I developed about myself through the videos. So now part of the system is don't worry about creating anything other than creating content on top of content on top of content, and then go back into your content and repurpose your content in another way. So that's where the model comes from. 1 = 5.
Yes.
I'm just going through a process, but now that becomes the system. So every time I bring on a new client, every time, right, I'm saying the same thing to them. Listen, all I want you to do is I want you to document what it is you're going through.
Yes.
As we build,
right.
You're taking what I'm teaching you, you're documenting what you're going through emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically through that transition, because now you're developing a process so that you can turn around and sell that process to someone else. But I never tell them that you're developing this to do this, because it becomes too overwhelming. You know what I mean?
And what do you call that? What do you call that? There's some word that you always tell us to do every day. What's that? I remember you telling me to do that every day.
What, you talking about debrief?
Yeah, there it is.
Oh yeah, for sure. The debriefing process. But them are 2 different things now, right? So that becomes, you got me just giving the whole thing away right here. But that becomes a whole nother piece as you're building and you're documenting what you're doing, you're creating a system from ground level to this level, right? Ground level to level 3,
right?
You're creating that system, because you go from not knowing what you really know and going through your emotional stuff to now when you got it and you're like, oh, this part's easy. And now you're doing your debriefing. And that brings you to another level of this, because now you're thinking deeper, but you couldn't think that deep when you was down here.
Yeah.
Like you was too low to think as deep as you're thinking now, but because you went from here to here, you're thinking on another level, which is your gap filling level. So you have that process when you're going and you're executing, but you're creating a lot of gaps through your execution. When you start to debrief, that's you going through your execution, filling in the gaps. So now you're creating a system that helps you to fill in the gaps. So now when you teach this, you're not just teaching the basics, you're teaching the basics plus the gap filling. So now you have 2 layers of what you just went through that you learned on accident, but you was intentional about documenting. You see what I'm saying? Intentional about documenting, but putting it into a system. That was you just did that. That just happened by nature.
Right. And it all comes from documenting what you're doing, going out and creating content. And then you can, 1 = 5, you can take that content and repurpose it. I know that's what, we did for the book, is we took all the videos that we have in a course, we repurposed it and then came out with a book, because, maybe not everybody wants to buy the course. Maybe they're not ready. Maybe they learn in a different way. They learn from books. So we repurposed the course, broke it all down and made a book out of it. And then it makes it easier for the people. Hey, they just want to get some of the information. They want to go on their own. No problem. They just buy the book and then they can take that to the next level. And if we have the course, that'll help them even further. If they need that additional coaching or content, we can help them. But I know that's what you told us to do, is to repurpose that information. And that's what we did. And we've been very successful doing it based on, your recommendation to do that.
So, and that's the same thing as far as, because like you're on like your fourth time of building. So you're on your 4th time. What you have now came from the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Yeah.
Right. But when you first got started, that was from scratch.
That's from scratch, right?
You see what I'm saying? And this is what people would be more interested in saying, how, like, you're here, like, show me what you know. Like, I'm not ready for everything you know.
Right.
But if I'm starting from scratch and I can say to you, like, what was that? And if you can still go back and say, yo, here, I got a bunch of videos on when you're starting from scratch. You know what I'm saying? When you're starting from scratch, this is all you need. And now you're looking at your course is that development from scratch. This is that first year 1. If you want to generate your first, if you generated 50 grand in that first one, and you say, listen, I'm going to show you how to get to 50 grand. Yo, that's just the first year, right? That's one program in itself. Everybody don't want $100,000, $1 million. Somebody's like, yo, if I can get 50, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
So, and still be on the beach, right? If I can get 50, still be on vacation and make my 50 that year, I'm cool with that. I can live. And then hopefully maybe they say, let me go get more, but that's just your first piece. But now if you say, listen, I want to help you. And people say, yo, scale to 100,000. You don't scale to 100,000. You scale from 100,000 to 1 million, but you're not scaling to 100. No, you can make that 100. So if you're like, listen, this is what I learned in my second business. My first business, I got it here. My second one, I got it here. And this is that's a whole nother level of information. So now it's like, listen, if you want the whole 4 years, or if this is the income point you want, this is one program. Like, I wasn't even thinking about this, like all the times we talked before, but this is like, you got where they can get the deluxe and they can get the 4 years of this, right? And you're going to pay heavy for that. Why? Because you sacrifice heavy for that. You know what I mean? But if you just want to get to 100, I'll show you how to do that. I'm saying,
one of the things that we teach, and I know you teach, is don't build up with one hand and tear down the other. So what we try to do in our program, and I know you do the same thing, is we try to say, get win after win after win to try to minimize your losses. So you don't lose. It's like, oh, I made $2, but I lost $3. No, we don't want to do that. We want to make $2, secure that $2, and then let's get you to $3 over and over and over again. Get those small wins and just keep building, because what happens, you take that big L, it hurts. And you know what? Even I know I've done it a bunch of times. So what where we were successful in building, the first business. Then when I built the second business, like, okay, avoid that pitfall, because last time that hurt. So I'm like, I'm gonna stay clear of that hole. Yeah, I got choked up there, but yeah. So that's what we try to avoid. And because I've done it over and over and over again, I can minimize those L's and then just create. I don't have to take big wins. All I have to do is small ones, and they add up, and don't take an L. That's what I've learned in business, and it's been successful.
Right. So now, and I want to break that down a little bit, because when you're talking about you can go back and minimize the L's, that's really what people are paying for. You know what I'm saying? Like when people get a system, the system is cool. You're going to learn the information, but you go anywhere and learn from a lot of people. But I'm helping you to minimize your L's because I did it. Yeah. So all you really have to do is pay attention. I'm not telling you you're not going to take a loss. I'm not telling you that, right? Let's be very clear. You're going to take some L's too, but you're not going to take the big L's, right? You're going to minimize the L's. So I'm paying for my lack of L's. And like, for me, like 2000, right? Like, let me tell you, 2000, and I know a lot of people like, well, I took an L. Well, I know a lot of people that crushed the game in 2000, right? And I'm like, yo, how you do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, and when my man sat down and he told me, he said, yo, I've been telling you a long time ago, Pete, like, you got to go digital. I've been telling you a long time ago, you got to get it to where you're not relying on brick and mortar, right? And for me, brick and mortar was me going on the road, going in the buildings and speaking. Like, that's cool. But yo, how do you do it with you not being there? How do you create that? And I was like, yeah, nah, like, yo, man, I just love going in. I love speaking. I love being on stage. And my man told me, we was at a spot out here called Lolo's, and he had flew in from Atlanta. And he was like, yo, I get that. But at the end of the day, that's not business. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not business. So I was executing on the system that I love to do, but I wasn't executing on a system that was business. Right. And when 2020 came and everything shut down and I woke up and lost every contract that I had, I'm talking about everything. Like, I watched it from here, and it's just like you sitting there watching the stock market go, yeah, you know what I mean? And then you go to like this panic, and that's where I was. And now I'm like, okay, cool. We got to create something completely different. We got to create something completely different. I can't be over here and over here. I got to be right here. And I got to make this thing so dialed in that it works with or without me. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm at right now. So I was forced into following the rules of this system.
Yeah, right.
And people kept telling me, yo, you got to do it. I'm like, nah, I don't got to do that. I don't want to do that. I love doing this. They're like, all right. And I learned the hard way. So make sure as you're putting things together, and people who are doing it, when they tell you, don't be so stubborn where you can't get out of your own way. Your system might be cool, but what's wrong with having a system and then taking this other piece and turning that to a system and turning this other one to a system? I'm not telling you all at the same time, but when one is running, go start this one. And then when that's running, go start this one. And that's where that multiple streams of income come in. I see people not getting income on one stream, and they trying to create another stream and another stream. Like my man Kendall said, like, yo, all you got is a bunch of drips.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want drips.
And the guy yesterday, he talked about that. It's funny is he said, they said, well, one book, somebody asked to say, their question is like, hey, I read somewhere that it takes 7 streams of income to become a millionaire. Is that true? What's your philosophy on that? And he said, look, here's my philosophy on that. He said, maybe that worked for some people. That didn't work for me. What I did is I dominated in one area, and then I leveraged that area to build another area. I didn't just start one company and then after it gets going for 6 months, start another company and then do it again and again. I didn't do that. I went hard in the paint, real hard on one company. And then what we did is we said, oh, there might be a little sliver of income we could get from over here. And then what we did is took some of that revenue and moved it over here. And then we leveraged the big company to make another stream of revenue. And that is what he said, that's what my philosophy is. So whatever you're good at, just leverage that when you get rocking and rolling, you're really good. Just leverage that to get a little stream of income over here, because you can lean on the first company. You can lean on your success to create something over here. And then what happens over time, that something over here now takes it to life of its own. But sometimes it takes a little while to get going, but you could always leverage that first company. I know we did that for our company too. We went into different areas and leverage our brand to create, because they were rocking with the brand here. They're like, okay, I'll try this over here. And then when they tried it after a given amount of time, after we created the system, then now it can sustain and drive revenue.
And that's the whole thing, man. You get some people, they want to buy the little luxuries, buy the toys and get all of this because they got a stream going. Well, if you want to get the other stream going, forget the luxuries. Right. Your first stream is there to help you to build the next stream. So if you have, you generated, 100,000 after taxes, and you got 100,000 just sitting there that you generated from your business, where can you put that other 100,000, right? So you put 50 back into your business that's already running. You improve that system. Your 50 helps you to, multiply that. And then you take that other 50, right? And this might be 4 or 5 years down the line. You might have to wait, but now you take that and you put that into this other thing and you let that build. You know what I'm saying? And you just keep creating system after system, man. That's one of the things. It took me a while to really get it. Because I wanted to talk to everybody. I wanted I wanted to do this and do that. I'm like, yeah, but I could do this and I can do that. The moment I got away from all of that, like I seen a shift. I seen a huge change. And one of the things too, when we're talking systems, even like for my speakers, like when you're putting together like your keynote, your presentation, you thinking you got to go to each spot and develop a whole new keynote. And that was me. I'm like, I'm going to every spot I go to, I'm saying something different. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, I ain't saying nothing like I've been saying. And that's cool. But when we're on this tour, we taking that same message throughout the whole tour. And if we're doing this tour this year, all we're talking about is this. Yes. It don't matter what it is. And then we're like, well, how do I use the video footage, right? Because that was one of my things. Like, how do I use the video footage if I'm talking about this here, then I go here and I'm getting the same video footage? No, I'm getting different video footage because I got on a different outfit, right? And this is the thing, different outfit. I'm going to say a few things that are different. And all I need is like a couple 60-second clips out of an hour and 30-minute presentation, a couple 60-minute clips showing me in a new outfit, saying something along the same lines, but I added a little more to it, right? But I'm taking that message. Now I'm using that for new video content. And I was thinking that every time I did something, I had to say something new. I had to say something fresh. No, I had to show that people really wanted this message. Yep. And my coach used to say to me, like, yo, stop doing that. Like, develop a keynote and take that keynote throughout this whole tour. Right. And I'm like, yeah, and I was stubborn and hard-headed. Right. And then I hit him up and I was like, yo, matter of fact, 2019, I was like, yo, man, all I did was do this. And he was like, Pierre, I've been telling you that forever. And I'm like, I know. But he said to me, and I'm not a dude to name drop. So when you keep hearing me say, like my coach, like I'm not a name dropper, man, for whatever reason they say you should, but whatever, that's not me. My coach told me, he was like, yo, when you hear this dude speak, he can do that now, but he didn't do that in the beginning. Right. And I was basing everything of what I was seeing now. Yeah. And I developed my style based off of what I seen after 20 plus years of experience. Right. I'm like, why do I got to wait? I want to do it right now. You know what I'm saying? And then the only difference is it was a lot of story generating on this end. But for me, I'm a puncher and I'm like, I want to punch and I want at the end of every sentence to be a punch, right? I want to knock somebody out. And my man was like, yo, let's stretch out them punches a little bit. Let's get a little more strategic with the punches. The punches are cool and they hit. But does the message hit like it would if you was more perfecting the stories and in your story instead of punching line for line for line for line? Maybe you're just weaving in and out. And instead of punching 10 times, you punch 4 hard ones. You know what I'm saying? And I started to think about it. And I'm like, how do I do that? And when I got to the point where I put a system together with what I'm talking about, oh man, huge difference. Like I go on the road this week, man. And I'm so happy to be back on the road. just to be in a building and really be able to like do what I do, like I'm excited about it. So man, listen, the presentation I got right now, different, like different. Like,
so many times, I think people look at the end product and then they're in the beginning and they're looking at the end product and you have to say, look, that's cool that you want to get to here and we can teach you how to get there, but you got to do the basic fundamentals to get there because you're looking at this and you're trying to get there and then you're just going to take a bunch of L's. Let's get you it's almost like building a house. You can't get the third story without basically doing excavating, getting down to that hard ground where they can put some foundation and then put the cement to say, okay, here we have good ground. Now we have a good foundation. Now we can build up. All too often people want to build that third story and they don't have that first, that ground level, that not even a ground level, but the foundation, and I know even when we're teaching our students, it's the same thing. They're like, oh, I want to do this, this, and this. I was like, look, let's do this first. Let's get this, a perfect example is, people want to put out ATMs for us. And I'm like, let's get the contract dialed in. Let's tweak our contract for you to make your right. And it's like, Bill, I just want to put them out. I don't need a contract. I'm like, yeah, but what happens when they kick you out and you don't have an agreement? What if what happens? It's like, yeah, but I just want to go. It's like just what you're saying. You want to punch. It's like, let's get it dialed in. Let's get the contract tight. Let's put that ATM in the location. And now you have revenue that you can get the next location on that first bit of revenue. And, that's to your point.
Yeah, way, way different. And it's, again, when we're talking about trying to build a system too soon or, building the wrong system, I was building a system up here, missing multiple levels below me that there was no system for. That system, that first level of system is to get you ready. So up here, you can actually build a real system so that you can actually scale now.
Yeah.
So without doing the basics, the fundamentals, without building brand story, right? Brand story, you're building brand. Your system is to build a brand story. And when you have that system, and you're just using speakers for an example, if you have that brand story, your message, you're building on that. People are knowing you for that. And then when you get to that next piece and you do your next tour, now you got a whole nother story, a whole nother piece of life, right? And you're putting out a new version of you because you're way different now because this is your second tour. You're not the same person you was on that first tour. There's some things you're going through, right? Like you're going through the frustrations of travel, the depressions of being on the road and by yourself and being tired, but still got to show up on that stage and still got to let your heart out and act like this is the first time you ever done this with that same level of excitement. Like these are the things you're building on tour one. When you get to tour two and your message shifts a little bit, you're able to use the message of what you learned in that first piece. But now people know you from the first, so they still rocking with you on level two. But when you're story for story, people are coming back to get to see you for that same daggone story. They bringing their friends out for that same message. So you're not giving yourself a chance to really like craft it and put the thing together the way it really should be because the message is shifting too much. That's why you watch a TV show and they got the same storyline for the first season.
Right.
And then in that next season, they give you another storyline. You know what I'm saying? But they drag this thing out and that's what keeps people hooked. And I never looked at it like that because my system was broken.
System was broken.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, like a new artist. You get a new artist, you hear him on a radio or on iTunes or wherever you see him. And then you go to see that artist in concert. They just play. If you ever watch the first new artist come out, they'll play their whole. I don't know if we call them albums anymore. I don't know what we call them anymore. But back in the day, that my generation we call them albums. So LPs. So they play their first album, and then a lot of times what they'll also do is they'll play somebody else's music during their concert because they don't have that contact. Now they come around and maybe in 2 years again. Now they'll play maybe half of their first album. They play some of their second album. And they go around the third time. Now they got 3 albums or 3 LPs, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And now they play a few songs for number 1, a few songs for number 2, a few songs for number 3, and they don't play anybody else's music. They just play theirs, and that's how they do it. It just the greats. So you're talking about speakers. and that's what you're saying. It's the same, just like musicians.
Yeah, it don't change. It's
Right.
it's the same, man. So it's just really at the end of the day,
Same system.
same system, same. You know what I'm saying? And stop trying to like skip. Like we're not here to skip around, man. We're here to build from here to wherever it is we feel as though we want to be, man. But to do it, you got to be able to have the system. But this is the craziest part of it. It's even like now, like with everything going on with with everything being shut down and COVID, you have musicians now. Like I was watching one thing, and Alicia Keys, she created a masterclass where she's showing you how to create that song from scratch. She's like, yo, I'm not around. I'm not doing concerts this year. Like none of this has happened. I'm putting together this program. So you sign up with her, and there's some other people doing it. The lady that created a show, I forgot what show she created. It's right on the tip of my tongue, but she created the show, and off her show, she's showing you how do you create episodes. She started off just doing plays, like some YouTube skits, and then she got it to where now, like she's doing her thing. And I think her name is Lisa something. I don't know. It'll come to me after. I'm sure it will. But her and Alicia Keys doing the same thing. They've been doing it for so many years. They know how to show you how to do it.
Right.
So when things switched and they couldn't travel and they pivot, their pivot was, let me show you the system I've been using to write these songs. Let me show you the systems that I've been using to be able to make these plays and turn them into TV shows and turn them into movies. Let me show you how I've been doing that. Listen, understand this, man. People never sell a business. They sell the system. Because there's so many businesses out there. Like you can go buy any gas station, but I want to find a winning gas station that got a winning system, and I want to buy that one, and I'll pay more for it because it's the system. Let's talk about how important the system really is. When you buy a business, most of the time, the person that you bought the business from in the contract stick around for 6 months to a year, showing you how to really run the system. Yep. If it was just a business you would buy, and you buy and you say, hey, bye, have a good one, and you can go about your business. But if it's the system, the people stay on and they help you, right? And they put this in the contract. Yep, for the next 12 months, for the next so much, you're going to be here. You're going to help us to run this system. That way we make sure all our people are really dialed in, because it's not the business, the system. So what that says is the system is more important than the daggone business.
So I remember, okay, so to speak to that, here's what happened. So right across the street from my house, this guy, old Italian guy, I'm from the suburbs of Chicago. He was an old Chicago guy, moved out to the suburbs, didn't want to deal with a lot of Chicago stuff, but he moved out here. And his deal is he'd make these huge pizzas, like 24-inch pizza, and he'd cut it in 6 slices. So you get a slice of pizza like this big, all right? So his thing is he didn't sell pizzas, he sold slices of pizza. So if you go there, you would get a slice of pizza. All right. So he was in there for 10, 12 years. And one day I walked in and there was some new people. And I said to him, I remember his first name. I'm going to call him Tony. Tony, what's going on? He says, I'm done, Phil. I'm out. I'm just getting tired now. So I sold the business to these people, real nice people from the next town over. They're going to come in. I said, well, are you leaving? He said, no, I'm going to stick around for about 3 months. And I'm going to help them, show them how to order product, how to do the pizza. I gave him my secret recipe. I gave it everything. And I'm going to do that. I'm like, oh, well, I'm glad that you're happy that you're retiring. He's like, yeah, I'm just tired now. But he said, I sold it to these people. All right. And this was, I don't remember what it was, maybe like a Tuesday or a Wednesday. The next week I go over there and he goes, hey, Phil, he says, I'm leaving. I said, yeah, I know. You told me last week you sold the business. He goes, no, today at the end, I'm done. I said, what happened? I thought you were staying. He says, these people won't listen to me. I'm trying to teach them how to order product, how to do the recipe, how to put the pizza in the oven. I'm trying to teach them everything that took me over 20 years to do. They don't want no part of it. He says, so why am I banging my head against the wall? I got my money. I was just trying to help them be successful. They don't want my help. They know how to do everything. I'm out. I said, well, I shook his hand. I said, man, it was a pleasure meeting you. You do great with me and my family. And then what happened is that business, 3 months later, that business was out of business. They want to take the old man's advice. They knew how to do it. And I asked the lady who bought it, I said, you ever been in the business? She says, this is my first one.
Bought the business, but didn't buy the system.
Didn't buy the system.
Bought the business, but didn't buy into the system.
Right. Didn't buy into the system.
Yeah.
And he was there for like 12 years. And this was second or third place. He just moved out from the city, And so just like you said, they bought the business, didn't want to buy the system. And you know what? It was only a matter of time and they failed. and they had it all right there, and they paid for the system, which was crazy. But sometimes people don't want to listen to the system.
You set in your ways, right? So that's the biggest thing, man. And this is why we create systems. And you said to me a long time ago, like, you buy it to sell it, right? You build it as if you want to sell it. So you're not selling the business. Let's be very clear. You're selling the system. McDonald's is in the real estate business. They're not selling anybody a burger business. You go start your own burger business. They're selling you the system that allowed them to make multi-billions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? So when you get in there, their thing is you have to follow their system, because they're not selling you the building. They want to make sure that they got that real estate money coming in, and you're paying them, because you never own the building with McDonald's, right? So if you get your McDonald's and you don't follow their system, you can't have the McDonald's.
That's right.
Because part of them creating their wealth is them making sure that you can live out your 20-year contract on that, your 20-year lease on that property. Because they want to make sure that they get the real estate capital once you decide you're done, or whatever the case may be. They get their real estate capital. In order to keep their real estate capital, they have to keep people coming in the door. They develop a system to keep people coming in the door. So they're not going to let you mess it up. But the problem is when you get the freedom to say, you know what, I hear you saying that, but I want to do it this way. Like, yo, you're kicking yourself, right? So it's the same thing when you're just going through your life and you're working with somebody. This is why coaches are really important, right? This is why coaches are really big, because they did the stuff you've done already, right? They did the nonsense. They made the mistakes. They're putting you through a system to help you to avoid that. You go make a new mistake. I love when I'm able to call and get on the phone with one of my coaches and they say to me, hold on, P, like, I ain't like, that's a new one for me, but let's walk through this, because now they're able to grow and they're looking at me like, yo, you're doing something different, but that's good. Let's figure this out. Right. And it's also good when I hit them up and they say, all right, cool. Nah, let's make this shift here. I know just what you're doing wrong, because we did that. This is what we did. Boom, 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 boom. And then this happened. So the way we get out of that is this. And then you're like, oh, let me make that quick adjustment. And you notice you start doing this again. Right. So it's good to have that coach. It's phenomenal. Like, that's the thing. You want to have that. It's your cheat code. It's your cheat code, but you have to be, I'm going to say the word, you have to be submissive. You know what I'm saying? You have to be submissive to the daggone system. Like, it is what it is, man. I fought my coach for a minute and they successful in what they do. But the minute I bought into it, and I sent them, I wish I had the text, right? But I sent them a text probably the month before last. And I was like, yo, you told me this 4 years ago. Right. And I'm just now buying into it. And this is what came out of it. And he just laughed and was like, yo, there's a time for everything.
You know, the crazy thing is when you see your coach, or you see these people like myself, or they say, boy, I love what you're doing. Show me how to do it. And you say, all right, here's what we'll do. I'll show you how to do it. And then you give them the blueprint and they go, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I'm like, well, I don't understand. You asked me how to teach you how to do it. You went to your coach. You said, hey, teach me how to do it. They took you under their wing. They said, I'll teach you how to, and you didn't listen, right? You listened some, but you didn't listen all the way. And so that always happens. I don't understand why that happens. If you see somebody successful, you want to rock with them, but why don't you buy 100% into the thing? I don't understand it. You want the level of success they have, but you're not willing to buy into what they're telling you to do. Some people are, and they're even more successful. Some, and I'm guilty myself sometimes, you know, I'm hard-headed. So, but if I would listen a little bit better and do what they say, I could be successful faster in the area that I'm trying to get to.
I think a part of it is, man, we're willing to stretch 20%, right? Or whatever that percentage is for an individual. Nobody's really willing to stretch 100%. Not everybody. I don't want to say nobody, but most people are not willing to stretch 100%.
Yeah, that's
true. So when they give you the system, the part of the system they give you forces you to stretch beyond your breaking point. Right. So because they're pushing you beyond your breaking point, you resist.
Yeah, there it is.
And you're like, man, I'm not going to do that. I do this part, but I'm not going to do this part. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be honest with you, part of the whole thing of structuring a keynote and writing things down, like I never ever, this is my keynote right here, right? That's my keynote. When I go travel this week, like right there, like that's my keynote structure.
Bullet points, sure.
Yeah, right. So, but I don't write the whole thing out because my spelling's messed up, right? I don't write fast enough. And if I write too fast, I like my stuff to look neat, right? Like there's certain things that I like, but it was really an excuse not to structure things the way they needed to be structured. So when my coach was stretching me beyond my breaking point, I was like, yo, like, yeah, now I'm gonna figure out a way around that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I hear what you're saying, but let me see if I can do that an easier way. Let me see what shortcuts I can find. And yo, there's no shortcut.
No shortcuts.
You see what I'm saying? So now when I do this, it's not because I don't want to write it out. It's because these are bullet points after doing so many videos. I already know what to say there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I took the long way. Instead of going straight, I went like, I was all like this, and I'm like zigzagging all through it. But now you can just give me the topic and I'm like, yep, I can fit this into that. Yep, boom, let me do that. Easy, got it. You know what I'm saying? But it took so much time to get there. Where would I have been if I'd have just went straight through?
Yeah. Instead of flying from Chicago to Phoenix, you went from Chicago to Dallas to Albuquerque, New Mexico to Phoenix.
Back to Boston. I went back to Boston. I went back to Boston. Then I went down to Florida, right? Like I touched all 50 states before I got to Arizona. And when I touched down at all 50 states, I had like a 3-4 hour delay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was I was exhausted. But this is the thing, right? To bring it full circle, this is why I don't show people how to build businesses. That's not my thing.
Right.
Because I'm not going to say I don't mind going all around the world to get somewhere, but I'm mentally tough enough to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I have the confidence to do it. I have the self-esteem to do it. I don't care what you say. I know where I want to get to, and I'm going to get there. So going through this whole process, I learned a process to develop mental toughness over and over and over again, based on whatever level you're going to, how to structure and build another level of confidence and another level of self-esteem. So I teach people how to go win in business. I build people to go win in business. I don't teach you to build a business. You know what I'm saying? And I had to understand, like, there's really a difference between the two. And people will say to me, like, listen, I'm trying to do this in business. Can you help me? I'm like, I ask you a few questions, and I want to see if you lack mental toughness, confidence, or self-esteem, if that's your issue. If it's not, I can't help you. You got a system problem, right? You have a production problem. I don't know nothing about that. Like, that's not my thing. But if I can identify that you're broke, and by you being broken, then it's causing this problem, I can help you now to be unbroke, right? And now that you're not broke anymore, now you can get with your business coach that you already have, or you can even go out and the answer will come to you. Like, that's what I do. So I had to understand the difference between the two. But I promise you, when my coach says something now, I don't care how much it stretches me. I know that once I hit my breaking point, I got to go beyond that in order to get to another level. So that's another level of mental toughness. I wasn't mentally tough enough to listen to you tell me to take this route, even though it's stretching me and I got to be more disciplined to do it. And I got to go through more pain points. I wanted to go my way because it was easier up front, but the long road, it was not easier. Right. So now I'm like, okay, you're going to stretch me. I'm at my breaking point. I'm gonna push beyond that. And now, man, my whole system of level of mental toughness, it shifted, but there's really, forget levels to it. There's steps to it. Big difference.
All right. And then for me, I'm the other way. I can teach you, I mean, just in my little space about the ATM business, I'm going to teach you I'm going to coach you and teach you how to get into the ATM business, but I'm going to teach you about business in general, how to secure, how to deal with the bank, how to deal with QuickBooks, how to deal with the government. I can teach you all that because I've done it for 20 years. So all the businesses that we built and sold, and I can teach you how to do an NDA, how to do an LOI, which is a letter of intent if you're going to sell your business, and how to do that, what to do to protect your family, and how to have your exit strategy in the beginning. So you reverse engineer it. So you know that I want to pull the trigger here, and how do I protect myself? So when I get started, what do I need to do? But it's all based on ATM business, not other businesses, because I don't know how to do other business, just that one.
Got you. But there's going to be a time. See, that's crazy, because business is business.
Yeah.
And there's some things that you have, but see, that's like that whole nother level. When you be older and you're like, yeah. And I say older, you're already like old, like real old.
I'm old.
When you get to that
I got to stretch now in the morning. I'm getting so old. My wife says, I said, it hurts over here. She said, are you stretching? I said, stretching. I said, I'm not working out. No. She just said, you got to stretch every day. And I said, you're kidding me. She said, yeah, you're old now. I said, oh.
Yeah, I got to warm up. I got a warm up ritual, man. There's some warm up. But on top of that, right, I did this podcast with my guy, the Best You podcast. Oh
Yeah.
man, real good day. Like that's my dude. And he found me on LinkedIn and then was watching the videos and had me on. But I went through all of the comments, and I go through like every day I'll get on and I'll comment on new comments that people put up. And he said something to me though. I had myself in this box of this is who I should be talking to and this is what I should be doing based on what I know, right?
Right.
And really based on what I feel inside of my comfort level. And this is what I'm saying. When we start talking about mental toughness, confidence, and self-esteem, we have to continuously use the old us to build the new us, right? So use the old you to create the new you. And when I'm talking to him and I was like, yep, this is who I talk to because this is who needs it. And he was like, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I need that. There's people in business, there's CEOs that need that. If they thought like you, what will it do for this? And he started to give me examples on and offline. And I was like, yo, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about it because I wasn't stretching myself to think about it. You know what I'm saying? I was staying here like, yo, this is where it works. And he's like, all right, cool, you do this, but understand this is needed. So I want to talk to you some more. And he gave me some insight and I was just like, wow. And that's a whole nother piece now. You know what I mean? So we think that this is all we can do based on the information we have, based on who it is we talk to. And we talk to some people, but we don't talk to the people in a way that we show we have value to them.
Right.
So we don't give them the opportunity to say, yo, I need some of that. You know what I'm saying? I think you could really be a benefit to my business because we too busy just talking about what we do.
Right.
And now in conversations, I'm going to talk about what I do, right? I'm going to get you to ask me what I do. I don't want to just say it. I'm going to get you to ask me, but now I'm adding another piece into that conversation, right? Another part of the system, right? Another part of the system to grow. And I want to ask you questions. And the questions that I'm asking you are about your business so I can get you to talk about what you do. But also I want to be able to find a gap that you have that I can solve. So you might say something, it might not be a gap, but in this conversation, if I can help you save 10 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand a month based on what you're doing in your business by something that I'm able to fill in that I'm an expert in, you're going to be like, wow, like, yo, you don't even know how much you save me. Like, what would it be to have you come in and look at this whole thing for me and find these other gaps? Oh, we can do that for such and such. You see what I'm saying? Like, so we got to be intentional about the questions we ask people that we're talking to that would allow us to find an opening where we can be a blessing. Because I'm not just saying, oh, I know how to fix that and just trying to get you to pay me to come fix it. No, I'm giving you that first one. Boom. So that means I can't just identify one. I got to identify at least 2 to 3 and give you one. You see what I'm saying? So now you're looking like, yeah, I got these other 2. You help me on that one. I need you to come and help me on these other ones. What's it going to be? And now you took your business, like now you're starting to elevate your business some more. So add that to, and this is what I'm saying, there's levels to the system.
Right.
And until you get to certain places, you don't even know that you have more value to add because your system isn't developed to be able to do that because you're still stuck into whatever system you're in. So there's levels to it. So again, mental toughness, confidence, self-esteem, you got to have the mental toughness to have somebody say, yeah, I don't like, I hear what you're saying, but I don't need that from you, buddy. You see what I'm saying? Like, because people they're going to say, they might not say it in their words, but they're going to say that, right? And then you got to have the confidence to be able to follow up and say that again to somebody else. And you got to have the self-esteem to where you can stay consistent and do it. And that's what I show you how to do, man. So you could just elevate. So yeah, man, we're a little over the hour. But the
already, man,
yeah.
how did we get here? Okay.
Yeah, we got there. Hey, look, we got there going second by second. You know what I'm
saying?
That's how we got there.
I asked the DJ one time, I said, how do you do it? He goes, 3 minutes at a time, brother. 3 minutes at a time.
Hey, listen, I tell you, listen, there's heavyweight fighters that get knocked out in 3 minutes or less. So 3 minutes can be if you make your 3 minutes powerful, and this is on so many different levels, man. Oh, that was like almost, I'm gonna stop. Okay. That was going somewhere.
That's for next time.
Yeah, not even. I'm gonna let that go. Now listen, man. Appreciate y'all jumping on with us, man. Any words you want to leave them with, Phil?
I just, you know what, whatever. Just with the theme of the system is like, do what you got to do in the beginning to start. I mean, that's my system. That's recommendation to you guys. do what you can in the beginning to start, do as much as you can. And then when you hit a roadblock, then go to somebody and say, you know what is the system? Because I'm here. I need to get better. And so that would be my recommendation to the group.
All right, cool. Listen, man, you know me, man. After you've done all you can, go do more. You know what I'm saying? Go do more. Go be great. Go study more. So when you run into that breaking point where you feel like you just want to give up, understand there's so much more that you can do. You got to stop focusing on the breaking point, and you got to stop focusing on getting beyond the breaking point. Listen, go get your water. You know what I'm saying? Go drink water and stay hydrated. I'm going to talk to y'all. Have a good one. I'm Malone. That's Stockton. And we're done with another episode, and we'll see y'all on the next one.
Thank you.